Hi, third, fourth, and fifth grade leaders. We are preparing for March 10th. And this week we are talking about Moses and the golden calf in our series called Goal, where we are helping kids ask and answer the question, what is God like? God is holy. In other words, he is perfect. Holy is perfect. Holy is everything we want to be, but we have a hard time being it because trying to figure out the best way to describe holy. But only God can be holy. Jesus was holy because he was a part of God. But only God can truly be holy. We can continue to strive to be, but we're going to need God as that example. He is good. He wants good for us, always desires for good for us. When he created the world, he desired good for us. And he is loving. He doesn't let anyone perish without the opportunity of knowing who his son Jesus is and why he sent Jesus to die and to be raised again so that we could have relationship with God. So your social activity for this series is a 5-second rule. I hope you're having fun with this game. I can't wait to hear some of all of the kids' answers as they are learning to play this game together. Just a quick rundown of how you play the game. You'll have one kid who will be in the hot seat, and I recommend kind of playing it a shortened version of this where you choose like 3 or 4 kids per round of questions that you go through. But if you want to give them a challenge and the whole group has to do it, where you have your 8 or 10 kids, you're welcome to do it that way as well. So what you're going to do is read off a question, and the kid in the hot seat has 5 seconds to give 2 or 3 items that are on the card. If they don't make it, then they don't get their point. If they don't get all 3 or they don't get all 2, whatever it says on the card, they don't get their point, but play continues with the person to the right of them. They have to answer the same question in 5 seconds, but they can't give any of the same answers that have been said before. So this is where the game gets really challenging and fun and exciting. All right, today in our small group time, you're going to play a game, and our game is called Today's Idols. And you're going to give kids a little bunch of Play-Doh. You'll have a bag of Play-Doh in your basket for you, and then you'll have a piece of paper that looks like this. You'll have bigger pieces of paper that you can post up in your small group area, or if you want to put it in the middle of your table, you can do that as well. So what you're going to do is show kids these pictures. This is a trophy, this is a cell phone, a dog, a TV, YouTube, a mirror. And so what you're going to encourage kids to do is to find one of these items and to try to make a Play-Doh image of it, like Moses and the Israelites did, or like the Israelites did while Moses was on the mountain getting the 10 Commandments. So after they've created their Play-Doh creation, you guys can look at the paper again, and everyone can vote. Play this gently, depending upon who's in your group, on which everybody thinks is better, the Play-Doh creation or the picture represented on your poster. And then you can ask a few of the questions. Which commandments were the people breaking in our story today by worshiping a cow? And do you think you break God's rules, and how? And maybe remind them of what the 10 Commandments were. Last week we talked about the 10 Commandments. 4 of the commandments were to help us learn to relate to God in a different way. 6 of the commandments were to help us learn to relate to each other in different ways. So if you want to, I'll have some posters out to help you remember what the 10 Commandments were, if you want to go back and talk about that with the kids. Also, just use this time as a great discussion time. I think that your kiddos are beginning to understand what it's like to have discussion and how everybody takes turns in participating in discussion. And, maybe even think about when you think of the story of Moses and the golden calf, what do you think about? And ask the kids what they think about. Like when they hear a story like that, do they think it's as ridiculous as Miss Christie thinks it is? Or can they see themselves creating some other kind of idol if they were given enough time to do so? So use this time as a great time to continue discussion, help the kids ask big questions. If there's a time where you feel like you're stuck and you can't answer a question well, that's okay. We don't have to have all the answers. My number one answer for most kids in that situation is, if you can give me some time, I'd love to come back and have that conversation with you again. And that way it'll give both of us some time to think and pray and to see if we can find an answer to that question. If it's a question that can be answered, if it's a question that can't be answered necessarily, maybe you just pray with the kids about that question and see if God can help direct them toward the answer, and how to have relationship with other people and how to have relationship with God. You have your memory verse activity. You'll have basketball goals set up around the room. There'll be one for each grade level. And if we can continue to be gentle with our basketball goals, I would really appreciate it, so we can make it through the whole series with our basketball goals. We did little ones on purpose because we have to tear them down every week, because of our rooms are being used every day of the week by other people around the church. And so we can't keep basketball goals set up all the time. And help your kids. They'll shoot a basket. If they make it in the basket, then they can say a word or a phrase from the memory verse, and you can make it through the memory verse that way. Thank you for loving on kids and building relationships with them that help them know that coming to church and relating to you in a small group is a safe place to ask big questions.